If I share my cookie, will you stay? Asked the CEO's little girl to a poor single mom on the plane. The crying started before the plane even left the runway. Not loud, not disruptive, just the soft, exhausted whimper of a newborn wrapped in a thin blanket, held by a young woman whose trembling hands revealed far more than fatigue. Passengers glanced over, some with sympathy, others with irritation. But the young mother didn't notice. Her eyes were fixed on the tiny life in her arms, murmuring quiet apologies as if she were responsible for the world being too heavy. She had no idea that this flight, and the strangers it carried, would rewrite her future. Her name was Lena Carter, a 23-year-old single mom who had spent the last of her savings on this ticket. She wasn't flying for a vacation or a fresh start, she was flying to beg for her job back at the hotel that had fired her when she couldn't find a babysitter. She had no plan B. Just a prayer and a baby who needed her to keep trying. As she sighed, adjusting the infant in her arms, a small pair of legs swung excitedly in the seat beside her. A little girl in a pink dress, blonde pigtails, dimpled cheeks, and a box of cookies in her lap, studied Lena with curious eyes. She couldn't have been older than 3. Before Lena could smile back, the child lifted a cookie and held it out with tiny, sticky fingers. If I share my cookie, will you stay? Lena blinked. Sweetheart, I'm not going anywhere. The girl beamed. Good. Daddy says cookies fix everything. Lena let out a laugh she hadn't felt in months. But the warmth of the moment was interrupted when a deep voice approached. Sweetheart, what did I say about talking to? The man stopped. His gaze shifted from his daughter to Lena, then to the bundled baby sleeping fitfully against her chest. He regained his composure, offering a polite smile. I'm sorry if she bothered you. She didn't, Lena said softly. She's lovely. The man, Ethan Hale, though Lena didn't know his name yet, nodded shortly and took his seat behind them. His tailored suit, the quiet authority in his voice, the whispers from passengers who recognized him, he was clearly someone important. The kind of man who lived in penthouses, not paycheck-to-paycheck motels. But his daughter didn't care about any of that. She only cared about the cookie she held up proudly. I'm Mia, she announced. What's your baby's name? Lena smiled. His name is Noah. Noah, Mia repeated, as if tasting the name. I like him. He's tiny. The plane took off, and for the first time in weeks, Lena felt calm. Mia's innocent chatter filled the air around them, distracting her from the crushing anxiety sitting on her shoulders. But peace doesn't last long in a life already stretched thin. Halfway through the flight, Noah began to cry, louder this time, desperate. Lena couldn't soothe him. Her arms trembled, tears forming as she whispered apologies into his hair. From behind them, Ethan cleared his throat. Is everything all right? Lena shook her head, defeated. He's hungry. I thought he'd sleep until we landed. I wasn't allowed to bring water through security, and now his formula. Her voice cracked. Before she could finish, Mia tugged at her dad's sleeve. Daddy, Mia whispered loudly, we need to help them. Ethan hesitated. He was a CEO, a man who solved million-dollar problems, not crying babies. But the pleading in his daughter's eyes pulled him forward. I'll ask the flight attendant for warm water, he said gently. Just breathe. It's going to be all right. The kindness in his tone caught Lena off guard. She nodded gratefully as he stood and spoke to the attendants. Within minutes, they returned with warm water, formula packets, and even a fresh blanket. Ethan helped her prepare the bottle without judgment or discomfort, only sincerity. As Noah finally drank, Lena felt tears slip down her cheeks. I'm sorry, she whispered. You didn't have to help. I didn't, Ethan said. But Mia insisted. And she's usually right. For the next hour, the three formed an unlikely bubble of comfort. Ethan learned that Lena had no family left. That she had been laid off unfairly. That she was terrified of what waited for her after landing. Lena learned that Mia's mother had passed away shortly after childbirth. That Ethan, despite his wealth, was drowning in guilt and loneliness. That he had no idea how to raise a child who needed softness when all he knew was strength. 2 different worlds, sitting inches apart, searching for the same thing, connection. But challenges don't wait for perfect timing. The plane hit turbulence, bad turbulence. Oxygen masks dropped. People panicked, and Noah began to scream. Lena froze. Her body trembled as she struggled to hold both the baby and the mask. Tears blurred her vision. Lena, Ethan called, standing despite the shaking plane. He reached over the seat, steadying her hands. I'm right here. Breathe. You're not alone. His calm steadiness steadied her. Together, they secured the mask, protected the baby, and waited out the storm. When it passed, Lena found herself leaning against Ethan's hand, his touch grounding her. Thank you. I don't know how to repay you. You already did, he said softly, glancing at Mia, who was hugging Lena's arm. By showing my daughter something I forgot life was full of. What's that? People. When the plane landed, Lena prepared herself to slip away quietly. She didn't belong in the polished world Ethan came from. But as she grabbed her worn backpack, Mia clutched her hand tightly. Don't go, she begged. You didn't finish your cookie. Lena laughed weakly. Maybe next time, sweetheart. Ethan stepped forward. Lena, wait. She turned. I overheard you talking about your job. And your situation. He paused, choosing his words. My company owns several hotels. If you're willing, I can offer you a position, with childcare support. Lena stared at him, stunned. Why would you do that? He looked at his daughter, then back at her. Because sometimes the right people cross our path at the right moment, he said. And because you stayed when my daughter asked you to. Tears filled Lena's eyes. Are you sure? Completely. Mia grinned, tugging Lena's sleeve again. See, cookies fix everything. Lena let out a shaky laugh, one filled with hope, not fear. Maybe they do. 3 months later, Lena walked into Ethan's office, Noah on her hip, Mia skipping beside her. What began as a moment of kindness had grown into something none of them expected, a friendship, a support system, a new beginning. And as Ethan watched Lena help Mia with her crayons, he realized something. Sometimes life doesn't change with grand gestures. Sometimes it begins with a simple question. And a shared cookie. If you want, I can also create.